Welcome back. Today I'll be doing a review of A House of Secrets by Chris Columbus and Ned Vizzini. This is the first in a series, and it's published by Balzer & Bray, an imprint of HarperCollins, and it was released in May of this year. Because this is an ARC copy, it doesn't give a synopsis of it, so I'm going to read that off of Goodreads for you. It says, the Walker kids had it all. Loving parents, a big house in San Francisco, all the latest video games. But everything changed when their father lost his job as a result of an inexplicable transgression. Now the family has moved into Kristoff House, a mysterious place built nearly a century earlier by Denver Kristoff, a troubled writer with a penchant for the occult. Suddenly the siblings find themselves launched on an epic journey into a mashup world born of Kristoff's dangerous imagination, to retrieve a dark book of untold power, uncover the Walker family's secret history, and save their parents, and maybe even the world. Now, when I first came across this book and kind of read the synopsis, about a family moving into a seaside, a house situated on the top of the cliff near the seaside, once owned by a kind of a interesting character, and there's something mysterious about the house. It immediately brought to mind a book I recently read entitled Ulysses Mora, The Door to Time, by Pier Domenico Bacalario, an Italian writer. Literally the same situation. A family moves into a house situated along a cliff on the seaside, and it's a very mysterious house owned by a very mysterious person, and there's a hidden secret within the house. Sounded exactly the same, and right up my alley of things I kind of like about young readers' books, middle grade books. But this one just kind of failed to entertain me. It didn't work from right at that beginning part. This is a book that it's literally 77 chapters long, all the way to the end of the epilogue. It's like 490 pages. Seemed excessively long. This is a book I struggled to finish. The Walker kids consist of Cordelia, the eldest daughter, Brendan, and their youngest sister, Eleanor. Eleanor is described as being dyslexic, and that's something that comes into play within the book. What we come to know about this particular house, owned by a writer by the name of Denver Kristoff, as they move into the house shortly after they meet the neighbor, and she turns out to be the daughter of Denver Kristoff. Seems kind of a nice lady. Brendan's a little suspicious of her because she looks a lot like the stone statue that he saw in the back of the house, missing one hand. And when he looked back again, the statue was gone. And then next thing you know, there's a woman kind of standing there looking similar to her. She leaves after introducing herself to the family, and then I forgot what the time frame is. It's fairly quick, but she ends up kind of forcing her way into the house later, now suddenly in a different guise. She looks almost like a witch-like creature, evil. She starts tearing apart the house, attacking the parents, the kids. The parents are sort of knocked out and shoved off to the side. They come to learn that this woman is actually referred to as the Wind Witch, and she takes their house and sends it into the world of her father's fiction, forcing them to find this book, as I described in the synopsis there. It's a book that somehow her father has managed to hide from her by hiding it within his books, and she doesn't have access to it. So she's using the kids to help her get to this book. That's like the main plot of it. So once these kids are in their house is sort of thrust into this fictional world, they encounter all the strange creatures and settings and things from this author's books. They meet some people that kind of come to their aid. One of them is named Will. He's a young pilot in the book, I think it was entitled The Flying Ace. And he comes to their aid and ends up on the journey with them. And they meet a couple other characters that are close to them, and others that are kind of challenging and very dangerous to them. You'll see on the cover of this book there are like sharks down below here. If you were to get a close-up look, there are actually pirates up in here. They encounter all of this. This book kind of reminded me, some of you might be familiar with the movie Jumanji, it's based on kids playing this board game, and once they start playing it, all these strange things from the board game start attacking them. There was a similar movie to this called Zathura, where the house that the kids are in ends up getting pulled up into space, and it's sort of a space game. And all these things are ripping apart the house and they come in and attack. This book was sort of like Zathura, to me anyway, because the house is ripped from where it belonged and all these things are tearing it apart and attacking the kids. It just reminded me a lot of that. And I have to say the three main characters, the Walker kids, were written really well in terms of the brother or sister relationship, the bickering back and forth, very typical. But there's a lot of times when the characters were inconsistent. One minute they're brave, next minute they're all terrified. In sort of similar situations, you're thinking, how can you have such extreme differences in the way you're behaving and acting to it? A lot of times I found them very whiny and annoying. The action in this just seems to jump all over the place to the point of I didn't know which creatures or beings or whatever situation they seem to be in at this moment. How did they get out of the previous one? I started to lose track of where the house was. Still don't understand what happened exactly to the parents or where they ended up while this house was yanked someplace else. A lot of that seemed kind of weird. There are a lot of pop culture references within this book, which I started to find annoying as well. There's this giant colossus creature that they encounter with shaggy hair, kind of full lips, kind of heavy, and the young girl refers to him as like a fat Mick Jagger. So they keep referring to this guy as Fat Jagger throughout the whole book. There are, and I kid you not, references to Scooby-Doo, LeBron James, Michael Jackson, The Hobbit, Game of Thrones. It got a little excessive with all these references. There are words that I thought seemed unfitting for this particular book, and I don't mean swear words or anything like that, but like the term narcissism or phalanges, fingers, just odd terms. Vivisection, and with regards to vivisection, it's actually described in this book, and one of the characters that they come close to is subjected or nearly subjected to it. There are a lot of gruesome injuries, and that not only our main characters, but some of the characters they become close to are subjected to, some of them being, besides vivisection, there's stabbings. Someone gets an arrow through the shoulder. The tip of Brendan's ear is shot off. Some people are stabbed in the chest. One of the pirates, who has this tattoo that people keep making fun of, the captain decides he's going to shave it, cut it off of the guy's cheek, and he does. The younger Eleanor is threatened with having her fingers chopped off and deep fried. It just seemed a bit excessive and gruesome for what to me is a middle grade book. It's just not the book I was expecting. It was long, dragged out, confusing, whiny characters. I don't know much more to say. I gave this 1 star on Goodreads, probably one of my lowest ratings ever. Just was not, like I said, the book I was expecting. If there was more mystery within the house in some way, this witch creature even at times, I don't know. I just overall did not enjoy it. If it's something you want to try, feel free. Let me know what you think. If you've read it before, let me know what you thought about it. But for me, this book just didn't work out. Like I said, I gave it 1 star on Goodreads. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.